returning. Passing through the dense fog, crossing the rough way of life, we finally find our home for soul. From now on, life will no longer felt lonely, confused, staggered, and pathetic. The scene in front of us is magnificent, and our future is infinite and eternal. We are embraced by telegnosis of the greatest creator and walk on his way. We are vigorous and healthy, and may all our wishes come true. Confucius said when he was by the river, time passes like this water. Time is precious. Time is money, yet you can't buy it with money. The year 2013 is not far away. Dear beloved, I love you, and we love you. Don't hesitate. Opportunity knocks but once. Come on. Let us take life as a game, join each other, and travel to the celestial islands continent to enjoy the eternity of life. 建设一个精神和心灵的家园. Build a spiritual and soul homeland. Xiefeng, June 12, 2003. Open the windows and the sunlight and fresh air will come in. Take a broad view, and you will see faraway mountains are fresh and green. Stay and study in Lifechanyuan will a new life begin. You will see endless good fortune in future world. Lifechanyuan is a mental and spiritual habitat, a spiritual homeland for people who are ordinary, kind-hearted, honest, hardworking, and knowledgeable, a college to understand the meaning of life and the significance of human life, a transfer station leading to supreme life space. When you feel incompetent, exhausted, and gaunt and confused, you should take time to Lifechanyuan to listen other people's understanding of human life, to experience the peaceful atmosphere, to see if there are unworldly higher beings. There are 36 dimensional spaces in the universe. Every space is a huge world which includes supreme life space, low life space, and middle-level life space. Lifechanyuan will present people the mysteries of every life space. Through explaining the universe, time, and space, Lifechanyuan will escort people to set foot on the road of super space and run to another beautiful and attractive life world. Human life is full of misfortune, suffering, regret, and helplessness. Troubles and worries tangle us all the time. Many puzzling mysteries of human life make us feel contradictory. Unpredictable situations and unexpected good or bad fortune make us anxious. Undesirable and troublesome things often make us sleepless. Disease and hunger often threatens us. From time to time, the complicated and changeable interpersonal relationships entrap us into the painful abyss. Survival competition oppress us, make our tired body lost in a miserable swirl after another. Why is human life like this? Why can't we get out of the trouble? Why can't we control the track of our own life? For thousands of years, intelligent people look for answers. Jesus, Sakyamuni, Muhammad, and Lao Tzu make painstaking effort for us. Marx, Lenin, Mao Zedong, Thomas Jefferson, and Lincoln exert their utmost efforts for us and try to build a peace world in where everyone is equal and happy. Moses, St. Paul, Mahavira, Zoroaster, Manes, Fatuomonii, Dante, Sais, and other sages undergo hardships to lead us into a joyful and happy family. However, the true answer seems far away from us. It still needs to take a long way to get closer to the shore of the truth. The development of the science provides us the key to the truth. Einstein, Newton, Galileo, Faraday, Stephen Hawking, and other scientists pave steps to the door of the truth for us. Edison, Rockefeller, Henry Ford, and Bill Gates create necessary utility tools for us. Plato, Ibn Sina, Zhu Xi, Aristotle, René Descartes-Bacon, Adam Smith, Rousseau, Voltaire, Malthus, Darwin, Freud, and other masters provide us necessary tool of rational thinking. Now, it is time to carry on the past heritage and open up the future, to rectify our foundation and to purify our origin, to absorb the essences of human intelligence and to develop a new era. Lifechanyuan not only solve the problem that if there is the greatest creator, the origin of the universe and life, the necessity and incidental, the karma, the previous life and the future world, the God, Buddha, and celestials in the universe, but also arrange the best way to people, strive to liberate you from suffering, lead you to develop into supreme life space, and make your life bring out beautiful flowers in the everlasting space. I hope people who want to self-refine in mortal world could participate in Lifechanyuan, such as hermits, religionist, president, Nobel laureate, billionaire, scientist, entrepreneur, literateur, public functionary, teacher, worker, farmer, rank-and-life soldiers, merchant, and homeless tramp. As long as you can explain a question about universe, space, or life and your theory can't be demolished, you can make contribution to Lifechanyuan. Lifechanyuan doesn't belong to a country, a nation, a religion, a political party, or an organization and individual. Lifechanyuan isn't a religion form, so there isn't special ceremony and demand. Lifechanyuan isn't a company, so it doesn't participate in activity aiming at profit. Lifechanyuan isn't a political party, so it doesn't have constitution and doesn't participate in any political activities. Startup words. A ship full loaded with new life is sailing. A new era is coming. We are in an era of economic growth, material prosperous, spirit poor, and heart gloomy. An era which pay much more attention to reality and materialization, and an era of lacking belief. Cultivate conscience, educate mankind, seed civilization, and enlighten spirit, which are every sage's glorious mission. It is the calling of the era to build a mental and spiritual homeland. The greatest thought is rational thinking. The rational power is the most powerful power among humankinds. Compared to the 36-dimensional space, human beings are in a very limited world. So we need to tell ignorant people the vast space system and let them know the principle of, why am I being me? What do I live for? First of all, a great era must be guided by a great thought. If there aren't powerful supports from the mental and the liberation of the spirit, the economic development can but result in human beings' universal corruption and decadence. Although thoughts of sages in history shine lights of rationality, none of their thoughts can meet current people's mental and spiritual desire. Although all religions make indelible contribution to the civilization of mankind, every existing religion has its limitation and can't guide current mankind. A theory, a thought, we have to doubt it if it exists over 1,000 years, but can't bring peace to the world and can't bring joyfulness and happiness to the life. A theory or a thought, if it can't be accepted heart and soul, but be accepted by putting to use state apparatus, power and institution, inflammatory and fraudulent way or material lure. If it promises a bright future, but can't figure out the scene, we have to think deeply about the theory and thought. A theory or a thought, if it can't make people enjoy the happiness of this present life, if it thinks that only suffering can get otherworldly blessing, it is either pettifogging or irrational. Before everything is clear, firstly we should believe in science, truth, and logical deduction. We believe that people standing at the peak of science is closest to truth. Undeniable, the great soul surpasses science and space-time. Their thoughts can't be accepted generally, which is the sad part of the great soul. If the great soul can't bring humankind current happiness and future hope, its value is less than a rainfall. Lifechanyuan is a place to gather great soul. The great soul isn't life from low life space and middle level space, but from supreme life space. Before the World War I, the 1,000-year world, the 10,000-year world, and the Elysium world has sent millions of supreme lives to mortal world the great soul. Lifechanyuan is to tell these great souls that, instead of enjoying the joyfulness in mortal world, you come to mortal world is to explain the mystery of the universe, the essence of human life, to save people who have a rough time, and to make people enjoy happiness and joyfulness in mortal world. You can never make transmigration in mortal world again, because you will lose your nature and your way to home once you went through transmigration above 3 times. The greatest creator loves and cares humankind. Before material prosperous and moral degeneration, he has to save people from disaster in case of resulting in the flooding tragedy of Noah era. When people have no fear of force, then great force descends upon them. We must make people know the meaning of these words. Henry Van Dyke was an American author, educator, poet, playwright, and clergyman once said, "Men of privilege without power are waste material. Men of enlightenment without influence are the poorest kind of rubbish. Men of intellectual and moral and religious culture, who are not active forces for good in society, are not worth what is a cost to produce and keep them." You are great soul with great thought. If you were a president and only considered your own political party, group, and private benefits rather than the benefits of the whole country, you couldn't be called a great soul. If you had university education but don't service to humankind, you are not a great soul. If you get wealth from the world but don't want to pay back to society, you would be an inferior soul. If you were an advanced official, only try hard to win promotion and to get rich and to make one's ancestor illustrious. Instead of bringing benefit to your citizens, you are also an inferior soul. If you don't make progress but lead a befuddled life when you make a little achievements, you aren't a great soul too. Great soul among human beings should be taken to supreme life space. Inferior soul among human beings must be taken to the low life space. Nobody wants to place the excrement of the toilet in the living room and place the good wines and dainty dishes in the toilet. Even so, the human beings, how about the order of the greatest creator? Only when the people around us are happier, the greatest soul can calm. Only when we contribute our knowledge to human society selflessly, our soul is capable of getting into the supreme life space. Open the windows and the sunlight and fresh air will come in. Take a broad view, and you will see faraway mountains are fresh and green. So you should open the window to the soul and fix your vision onto further future. For millions of years, human beings always feel their way in the confusion situation. They don't know there is always room for improvement. They suffer meaningless hardship, pain, and sorrow. Because people don't know the mystery of life, they trample their own and other people's life. Because they don't revere the greatest creator, they can but transmigrate again and again among the low life space. Because there isn't a great sapiential guide, we have to follow the wrong guidance blindly. Hardly can people ask himself that, what am I busy for? Is it significant to my life? What is the difference between myself and the onrushing worm? People living on instinct, fame, and emotion can but fall into the same old trap forever. The frog in the bottom of the well always thinks that the place it lives is the ocean and sea. The sky it sees is the universe. People living on intelligence can have good view of 1,000 rivers and million mountains. However, people living on spiritual nature can pass through the limitation of the space and enjoy the infinite charming scene. In boundless universe, don't lead a befuddled life in the low life space. Don't fight and grab in the worldly confusion. Don't sigh in the wrong thinking vortex. Don't destroy life and ultimately hurt yourself. The ship of Lifechanyuan will take people possessing intelligence and spiritual nature to the ocean of the truth to enjoy the real pleasure of life. The greatest creator is just, because he arranges procedure of place where people should go in future strictly depending on people's actions in mortal world. People with higher spiritual nature can go to supreme life space, and people with lower spiritual nature must go to low life space. Tao is just, because it records everybody's deeds forever. People who follow the principle of the greatest creator and want to pursuing the truth, please contribute your talent and knowledge. Don't sigh for injustices around you. Don't crush out your intelligence and wisdom. Don't think you have no future. Don't hide at home to suffer. Your life will release multicolored anima if only you seek for the Tao of the greatest creator. Then you will find out that you aren't the person you imagine. As long as you work hard, you will be loved by the greatest creator and the humankind. The ship of new life is sailing. To people who want to follow the way of Jesus, Sakyamuni, Muhammad, Lao Tzu, and other sages, those who desire to explore the mystery of the time-space, those who want to go to supreme life space and want to have telepathy, please get on our ship now. Lifechanyuan will take you to an unimaginable, secret, boundless, wonderful, relaxed and happy, excited and desirable place, where is the proper place to place our life. God is always with me. God will always be with you. 将开心快乐带给他人和社会. Bring joy and happiness to others and society. Xiefeng, June 9, 2008. The purpose of life is to pursue joyfulness, freedom, and happiness. No matter it is the social system and religious doctrine, no matter it is to run business or to hold mass organizations, both should depend on this purpose. Everything depending on this purpose corresponds to the Tao of greatest creator, the humanity, and the meaning of civilization. Otherwise, it will be disordered and imperfect, and is deviated from the meaning of civilization. Chanyuan Celestial is the most cultivated and most civilized people in human society, whose action is in strict accordance with the instructions of Christ Jesus, Buddha Sakyamuni, Celestial being Lao Tzu, and the sages in the history. The goal of our living is to get into heaven, the 1,000-year world, the 10,000-year world, the Elysium world, or the Celestial Islands continent. The purpose of our life is to enjoy joyfulness, freedom, and happiness. That is to say, We should not only make ourselves live a life of joyfulness, freedom, and happiness, but also make others gain a life of joyfulness, freedom, and happiness. It is Chanyuan Celestial's basic accomplishment to bring joyfulness, freedom, and happiness to their parents, brothers and sisters, partner, children, neighbors, friends, workmates, and other people whom we are destined to meet. The one who brings others worry, trouble, suffering, constraint, crises, danger, quarrel, and fight is not a Chanyuan Celestial. Especially in the family of Lifechanyuan, Chanyuan Celestial has to bring joyfulness, freedom, and happiness to each other. If they bring suffering to others, they would betray the values of Lifechanyuan and the greatest creator's Tao. You have to suffer your share of pain and pay off your own debt by your efforts. You should build your own road and walk your own way. Chanyuan Celestial just pursues reality, goodness, beauty, love, and honesty, desires to see the bright and brilliant aspects, desires for joyfulness, freedom, and happiness. Nobody can pour his worry, complaint, detestation, discontent, and negative mood into Lifechanyuan family, even pollute the purified spiritual and mental spaces of other Chanyuan Celestials. God helps those who help themselves. Lifechanyuan follows the principles of the nature. Every Chanyuan Celestial must be an independent, unhesitating, and promising stronger instead of a complaining, indolent, and helpless weaker. If you endeavor bravely, I will give you a helping hand. If you indulge yourself, then there is nothing I can do. Before crossing the opposite shore, every Chanyuan Celestial is looking for his own survival. Everyone needs to be supported with increasing energy and the comfort of spirit and heart. It is forbidden to steal, grab, and expend the energy of other Chanyuan Celestials. Chanyuan Celestial is a company to travel life together instead of an organization which is bounded together for responsibilities, obligations, and liabilities. So every Chanyuan Celestial should be responsible for his words and actions, and for himself as well. You are the master of yourself, so whatever you say and do depends on your own will, not on the enforcements of others. Whenever you say foolish words and do foolish things, you should shoulder the responsibilities, and you can't complain other Chanyuan Celestials. Every Chanyuan Celestial must be clear that Lifechanyuan is not an organization with any nature. Lifechanyuan is a spiritual and mental homeland and will never be an organization of politics or religion. It will not impose responsibilities and obligations to anybody, neither will it be responsible for anybody. What Lifechanyuan publicizes and advocates is a kind of value on human life and life. It won't monopolize or replace the actions and living of anybody. Please remember you take action by yourself, and it has nothing to do with other Chanyuan Celestials or Lifechanyuan. If you think you are cheated, I will say you are not being responsible for yourself. You can't blame others. Furthermore, I want to emphasize 3 points of view. Firstly, the identity of Shuefeng is a tour guide of human life and life rather than a boss and a leader of somebody, even not a master. Whether the tourists follow the tourist map or not depends on their own will. The tour guide has no right and qualification to compel them. Secondly, our deeds must accord with words in Lifechanyuan. We never do things which are not written in Chanyuan corpus, Shuefeng corpus, and other articles of tour guide. We never do something stealthily. What we are doing is fair and upright and should withstand the test of fact, science, and logic, and the monitoring by the human beings. Shuefeng did not arrange any activities rather than the publicized in Lifechanyuan and network. There are not any activities in Lifechanyuan except for publicizing Chanyuan values and constructing home without marriage and family on network and Lifechanyuan's website. If there are more than that, it must have nothing to do with Lifechanyuan. In a word, everyone must face the greatest creator directly, should be responsible for himself. You don't have to be responsible for other Chanyuan Celestials, for Lifechanyuan, and for Shuefeng. It is the grace of the greatest creator and our fortune to get into the spiritual and physical homeland to travel human life with people who think and work and echo with you. Every Chanyuan Celestial should value this opportunity and feel grateful. One should bring joyfulness, freedom, and happiness to other brothers, sisters, relatives, and lover as possible as they can, shouldn't desire to control or dominate others. In this family, we can talk our understanding on human life and life, talk our cognition to the universe, and talk the suggestions on constructing Chanyuan family and developing Lifechanyuan era. We can encourage and praise other Chanyuan Celestial. Chanyuan Celestial can communicate with each other, but they can't direct and educate brothers, sisters, relatives, and lover in Lifechanyuan except for Saint Yang Heaven Earth Buddha, Mortal World Heavenly King Foshan Buddha, and Sage Taiji Buddha. We shouldn't impose our will on others in the name of maintaining Lifechanyuan and Xuefeng's fame. As long as we bring joyfulness, freedom, and happiness to others, we are doing merits and virtues, and creating the Lifechanyuan era for humankind. 开创一个理性、祥和、人性的时代. Create a rational, peaceful, humanistic era. Dayform Buddha. August 29, 2004. From 2988 BC to 2012 AD is a cycle of life in universe. At the end of the circle, the supreme level life space, mortal world, and low-level life space need to be adjusted because of the equilibrium of their life amounts are in critical point. Take mortal world as an example. Because the amounts of animals decline sharply and are disproportionate with the amounts of human beings, lots of people have to return to the animal world. In the same way, during hundreds of years, the celestials coming from the super worlds to fulfill their mission have to return to super worlds. Non-material structure possessing the standards of inferno, frozen layer, and inflamed layer must be thrown into the hell, and the one who have achieved the perfect human nature's standard have to get into the 1,000-year world, have achieved Tao have to get into the 10,000-year world, and those who have achieved Buddha have to get into Elysium world. For those who are reaching the perfect human natures, yet still unperfect, will be left in human world to reproduce and develop. From the time Lifechanyuan appears on the planet and in the man's world, the heaven world will successively dispatch some celestials, angels, to the world to help those remaining in mortal world to experience a hard time. The celestials will not show up in the form of extraterrestrial or other visible forms, but will attach to human beings' body to perform its program of balancing the life in universe in the form of the psychic energy. I don't know whose body the celestials, angels, psychic energy will attach to, but I am sure the one attached is the blessed one, which is coincidence with Xuefeng's poem, Butterfly flock around when flowers are blossoming. Good wishes and wisdom bubbles when your heart is peace being. No disease bothers you when your heart and body are clean. Celestial will you be when you only think of a mortal thing. The talented and wisdom men in Lifechanyuan should be prepared psychologically. Listen attentively to the guidance of your souls. Be ready to be unified with celestials from super worlds at all times. If we know the honored guests are coming, we should make a thorough cleaning in and out, light incense, eliminate dirty air, and wait for their arrivals. Guidance from psychic energy should never be suppressed by the rational values. We should realize that the values we keep may be functionless and totally wrong. We should try our best to be in the unconsciousness state. We'd better make a thorough formatting to our knowledge, experiences, values, and mode of thinking, reinstall the psychic energy from the source of life, remold ourselves thoroughly, and be a useful member in the new era after 2013. Along with the constant understanding on the mystery of the universe and the true meaning of the life in Lifechanyuan, someday, you will experience an indescribable passion and impulse, sense the mystery calling from the celestial beings. Realize that you are not an ugly duckling but a white swan, just like awakened suddenly from a dream. Once this sign occurs, it proves that your heart is connecting with the psychic energy from the resource of life, and celestials are attached to your body. You can do whatever according to the guidance of the psychic energy. One thing needs to be cautious is, no matter in the past time, nowadays, and future, there are lots of people who are attached by devils, will confuse all living creatures and content against Lifechanyuan. But these devils led by Satan are not heterodox doctrines. They are also performing and maintaining the balancing program of the life in the universe. If Satan and his fellows don't create obstacles and troubles in mortal world and don't strive to lead parts of people into the lower bound, and nobody wants to reincarnate to animal but wants to go to the super worlds or stay in mortal world, the universe will collapse. Just like a person split into two halves, if one half is dead, the other part is unable to exist. To the life in universe, both Jesus and Satan are important. It is a unity of opposites. Mankind's view of Satan as their enemy and a devil of swallowing life are an extreme misunderstanding and injustice. In fact, Satan is truthfully fulfilling his duty. Satan and his fellows have to try every way they know to prevent all human beings going to super worlds. For example, money, beauties, power, status, pleasure, fame, exceptional function and religion conflict, and so on. It is like the policemen who hold the door of the conference hall and prevent the swarming crowd. Why does Dayform Buddha only call for 2% people? 2% of human population is 130 million. And these people will be left in the planet to create a rational, peaceful, and humanistic era. Maybe Dayform Buddha will be scolded as heterodox doctrines and ignoring other 98% people. In fact, Buddha coming from the greatest creator doesn't ignore other people, but other people refuse to be taken care of. Accept Xue Feng's inner strength. Everything in Lifechanyuan is presented clearly. Who will believe in Xue Feng's values except for a few sages with spiritual nature? Will communist, Christian, Buddhist, democratic personages, or members of Falun Gong practitioners believe this? No, they won't. Of course, better not. If the number is over 2%, Lifechanyuan will be out of order. Jesus has declared that everything should use parables, which is hard to understand to those who are going to be thrown into hell. However, if they can understand, they will not go to the hell. And if the hell is empty, the balanced heaven can't exist. Celestial being Lao Tzu sighed, "My words are very easy to know and very easy to practice, but there is no one in the world who is able to know and able to practice them. They who know me are few, and I am on that account the one to be prized." So, from now on, we should apply for the visa to the kingdom of the new life circle. It is very easy to apply for this visa. Reverence to the greatest creator, reverence to life and reverence to nature, and following to the greatest creator's Tao. There are few people traveling on the path of life, just like the revelation shown to sage-like type in the dream. A couple of people climbing up the Xiefeng mountain with great effort, and there isn't a busy scene to be found. If we look around and follow the steps of the common people, someday we will find that we are at the door of the hell. After the adjustment of the life and universe, human society will be a rational, peaceful, and humanistic era. It also will be an era needless of the great men and heroes, an era with harmonious nature and ample food and clothing, and an era without fighting and grabbing and mental disease. The greatest creator has given us free will. Whether to go to the heaven or to go to the hell, that totally depends on your own choice. Satan and his evil spirits can only satisfy our desire on the material and flesh. They can't control us wholly. In the end, you have to take your own path. Since we have free will and the rights to choose our path, we should open up new ways forward to the rational, peaceful, and humanistic era. 懒惰是第二家园大敌. Laziness is a big enemy of home without marriage and family. Xiefeng, August 31st, 2008. I roughly browsed the reasons of the final failure of some ideal communities in history. The result is that all of them are killed by laziness. Everyone is busy in seeking enjoyment, reaping the fruit of others' labor, or drifting along. As time passes, the building of the ideal homeland collapses. In order to make home without marriage and family established by us to flourish, grow, and enter into the ideal state, we have to learn from the lessons of history. So the number one enemy of homeland is not others but laziness. It is the long-term strategic target for home without marriage and family to conduct the life and death struggle with laziness. Every member of home must possess the elementary qualities such as rising up on hearing the crow of a rooster and practicing with the labor tools, getting up at the crack of dawn and cleaning the courtyard, making a firm resolution to make good, constantly striving to become stronger, and working hard every day. Diligence can achieve the good future, and laziness can even ruin the blessing of God. Laziness can destroy everything. It can make one sink into vice, can corrode one's will, spirit, mind, and physical body. It can ruin a whole diligent community, influence the healthful spirit of a community just like virus. At last, it makes everything stay in the doldrums, dead as a doornail, depressed, and finally decay to extermination. Laziness is a kind of virus, is the biggest devil for a man. Once laziness becomes his second nature, he will gradually become a walking corpse and running flesh to harm himself, others, and homeland. Someone summarizes, the lazy man is bound to be an ordinary man. An ordinary man is bound to be a complaining man. A complaining man is bound to be a painful man. A painful man is bound to be a misfortune man. And a misfortune man is the